All throughout the book of Acts, we see stories of people coming to faith in Jesus, and their entire household was saved. And that is what we want to see happen for you too. Part of the whole family is young people. Our next guest is passionate to see young people walk in their faith, especially in hostile university campus environments. Dan Dupee is the president emeritus of the Coalition for Christian Outreach, or CCO, and he joins us now to encourage us that we really can influence in the lives of young people. Dan, welcome to Hope Today.
Thank you, Amy. It's great to be with you.
You know, Dan, with all that is happening yesterday, maybe let's kick it off with some of your thoughts about young people and, what's happening in our country.
Yeah, the young people, of course, are front and center. They're watching everything that is happening. They're watching it unfold. They're putting it through their own mental grid to decide what it is they believe and what's core. What's the most important stuff? And I have so appreciate the conversation this morning from each of you, from Sam, to zero in on the core tenets of our faith: trust in the Lord, love for neighbor. And at the core of the core is our households and how we take advantage of the opportunity to shape and mold, to cooperate with God, to have a whole household that is saved and following the Lord Jesus. So that this pushes young people in the same way that it pushes us. It raises the question of ultimate hope. And so we want to be close to the young people in our lives right now.
So Dan, what are some tips? What's some advice you would give to us as parents right now? I have a young adult university student, I have a high school student, and I have a middle school student. What are we doing? What can we do right as parents? And maybe where are we missing it?
I think depending on the age of the young person, so the university student is probably ready to have a conversation about this at a little bit deeper level than perhaps other kids would be. So inviting and starting with a question, I'd be curious to know what son or daughter who's in college is thinking about this right now. What are their peers thinking about? To do a little bit of querying, a little bit of listening before we necessarily share what it is that we're thinking. That's part of the process of parenting a young person from teenagehood to young adulthood, is asking more questions, doing more listening.
Mm-hmm. What is the message behind "it's not too late"?
Yes. The message is that even through the teen years, which is where we typically begin to back away from our kids, the data is pretty clear that we begin by not having conversations about God. We sort of pick up signals from our kids that the eye roll, the exasperated sigh, and we choose to interpret those as, hey, get out of my life. And the message is the data doesn't support that. We are still the greatest people of influence in the lives of our young people, even as teenagers. And they need us to walk through the years with them.
Oh my, the eye roll. Don't look up. You're not allowed to look up. I remember those days. Now I'm in a different place in life. All my kids are out. They're graduated. They're in their 20s and 30s. And but can I think so many of us, we wrestle with, did we do everything right? What are some of the myths that we have about parenting and about how to shepherd our children along in the faith, Dan? And could you just explain why they're myths to us?
Yeah, I think the central myth is the one that we become peripheral in the lives of our teenagers. So we really bought this. And in the church, it means we're often defaulting to a youth pastor or to someone else to do the work we think we don't have the influence to do. So that's at the core of all the other myths. There's a myth related to the college experience that, hey, you got to let those kids sow their wild oats. Right. And that sort of the ultimate wild oat sower in the Bible is the prodigal son. There's nothing about that young man's experience that's really commendable, other than turning around and heading home. So those are a couple of them. And then the one I think related to the question of the university environment, I don't think that we necessarily think that our kids are going to be able to thrive through the college years. And there's a myth that sort of says that they're just going to be sort of ripped apart by the experience of going to college. And there is real hostility in academia toward the Christian faith. But, you know, I worked in an organization that ministers to college students, and I could tell you story after story after story of young men and women coming to faith during college and young men and women growing dramatically in their faith during the college years. So that's the myth of low expectations for our kids as they enter college. It would be another one.